The 74-year-old man was going to be sent to a nursing home by his 102-year-old father. It turned out that the father wanted to break the Guinness World Record for human longevity. Paul asked his father why he was being sent to a nursing home. Although the father was 102 years old, his psychological age is 18 years old. He played football, fell in love, and formed a band. However, Paul's living habits were completely different from his father's. Father can't stand a cowardly son. Paul's presence at home would affect his father's mood for longevity. Father made his 72-year-old son cry with anger. After many negotiations, the father said that if he completed the task, he wouldn't have to go to the nursing home. Paul reluctantly agreed. Paul went to the church and was instantly moved to tears. This church was the place Paul's son had loved most in his childhood. Decades of memories came flooding back instantly. Paul had spent all his savings to send his son to study abroad, but after his son started working, he never came back. Even when Paul's wife passed away, he didn't come back to see his mother. That night, the phone rang. Nick went to check and found it was a call from his grandson. To prevent Paul from losing sleep, he blocked his grandson on his phone. But when Paul found out the next day, he flew into a rage. Because it was the first time his son had called him this year. He asked his father the reason, but the father said calmly that if the grandson walked into this house, he should be told to get out. Paul warned his father not to sow discord between himself and his son. Nick asked his son why his wife had kept staring at their son's photo until her death, yet their son hadn't come back to see her. At that time, Nick had called his grandson for a whole month, but he had refused to go home on the grounds of being too busy with work. As he spoke, the angry Nick called his grandson again. This time, Nick told his grandson to come home quickly to discuss the matter of inheritance, and the grandson happily said he would be back the next day. Paul remained silent after hearing this. The father mocked Paul, saying that his son only wanted to inherit the inheritance. Even though his son was a jerk, he still wanted to see him because he was his only blood relative. He bought imported water, imported snacks, and even changed the bed sheets to new ones. Just then, the old man took out a diagnosis report. It turned out that the old man had been diagnosed with a brain tumor a few months ago, but he was still worried that his son couldn't take care of himself. He wanted Paul to drive away the unfilial son. Paul finally understood why his father had done this. The next day, Paul's son got off the plane. The father had been waiting at the airport early to pick him up, but the son didn't care at all about his elderly father. His first words were about how to divide the inheritance. Paul directly scolded his son. Finally, Paul smashed his son's childhood piggy bank and told him to never appear in front of him again. After that, Paul spent the last days with his father.